And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We have a new administration in Washington, D.C., leading the country, the Biden administration. Now, many people are asking, how will we recover from this pandemic? And who will help me personally in the form of a stimulus package? Joining us from the University of Houston downtown is Dietrich von Biedenfeld. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. We know there was a earlier stimulus package that included $600 checks. I think as of this weekend, still 8 million Americans hadn't received that. So what's the next step, number one, in getting that final check? And number two, what will we see from the Biden administration in the form of possibly $1,400 stimulus checks?
Absolutely. And we've discussed this before, Isaiah. Remember that Article 1 is Congress, and that's who bears the ultimate responsibility for taxing and spending in this country. So while the Biden administration is progressively proposing these new financial stimuli for individual Americans, families, and even businesses, particularly those hard hit. We talked about before how small businesses, particularly businesses owned by people of color, were disproportionately left out of prior stimulus packages, including the CARES Act, due to certain banking expectations. And so this new proposal is designed to reach that $2,000 threshold. So it's a $1.9 trillion plan that President Biden and Vice President Harris are proposing to put $1,400 to add to the $600 from the $900 billion stimulus package. The January 15th deadline has passed, where individuals were supposed to receive that $600. If they have not, and they are entitled to it, there is a form on the IRS website to submit either new banking information, additional tax filing information, or any updates that may have impaired the IRS's ability to send that $600 check.
Now, when we talk about Congress's responsibility in getting a new stimulus package together, where do we stand with that? Obviously, there is a new administration, but you said Congress is tax and spend, their responsibility. But if they're looking at the majority, more Democrats in Congress, both on the Senate and the House side, and the Biden administration wants this $14,000 stimulus package or checks to go to individuals, then he's more than likely to get it, right, with the majority.
Unfortunately, the Democrats actually lost a couple of seats in the U.S. House, and while they gained seats in the U.S. Senate, including the tie-breaking vote, who's the president pro tem of the Senate now, Vice President Harris, our first woman and person of color in the vice presidency. So very exciting. However, even Democrats, such as Senator Manchin in West Virginia, have expressed a little bit of hesitation about sending a check. Susan Collins in Maine, all these folks are not exactly on the same page about this $1.9 trillion plan. They're sort of taking the same approach that we saw last year with the CARES Act, where they want to wait and see, which is very nice for these self-designated emergency essential employees, right? Because their $174,000, 600 plus check has come through every month during this pandemic, right?
Plus their net worth that could be in the millions, you know,
right,
as members of Congress and the Senate.
Right. So they're not struggling. They're very comfortable saying wait and see. And so even with this razor thin majority in the U.S. Senate and the House generally moving forward, expecting to move forward, actually, this should be out of committee and on the floor, voted on this week. And the House is at least moving forward on this $1,400 stimulus check. There may be some hurdles, and so they're trying to repackage it. But with these delays, every week that we wait, the check actually probably needs to increase because people's rent is already past due. People's grocery bills and credit card bills to pay for groceries that they haven't received this if they're on unemployment and so forth are already past due. And so Biden is going to be sort of tasked with adding additional pressure to our congressional delegations to say, move this forward, get these checks into individual Americans' hands. Additional rent and eviction protections have been extended through March of this year. President Biden's trying to get Congress to extend those throughout 2021, recognizing the hurdles to the pandemic. And every day that there's a delay, the need increases, right? There's a compounded harm that Congress isn't recognizing.
All right. Dietrich von Biedenfeld from the University of Houston downtown, thank you so much for joining us with the latest on the economic stimulus plan, or the latest version of that. We appreciate your time, sir.